Hi, I'm Tami Holmes at Tami Holmes Realty. Today I'm going to answer the question, do elections impact the housing market? The 2024 presidential election is just months away. As someone who's thinking about potentially buying or selling a home, you're probably curious about what effect, if any, elections have on housing markets. Historically, presidential elections have only a small temporary impact on the housing market. Here's the latest on exactly what happens to home sales and home prices. Let's start with home sales. During the month of November, in years when the presidential election takes place, there's typically a slight slowdown in home sales. As Ali Wolf, the chief economist at Zonda, explains, usually home sales are unchanged compared to non-election years, with the exception being November. In an election year, November is normally rather slow. This is mostly because people feel uncertain and hesitant about making big decisions during this pivotal time. However, it's important to know this slowdown is very temporary. As we look at the graph, you'll see historically home sales bounce back in December and continue to rise the following year. The data from HUD and from the National Association of Realtors shows that after 9 of the last presidential elections, home sales went up the next year. Now let's look at the home sales graph. The graph shows annual home sales going back to 1978. Each year with a presidential election is noted in the blue color. The year immediately after each election is green if existing home sales rose that year. The two orange bars show the only 2 years when home sales decreased after an election. Now let's look at home prices. Do they drop during an election year? Not typically. As residential appraiser and house analyst Ryan Ludquist puts it, an election year doesn't alter the price trend that is already happening in the market. Home prices are pretty resilient. They generally rise year over year regardless of elections. The latest data from NAR shows that after 7 of the last 8 presidential elections, home prices increased the following year. As you notice the graph, you will see this shows the election years in blue, just like the other graph. The only year when prices declined after election is in orange, and that happened to be during the housing market crash, which is far from a typical year. Today's market is different than it was back then. All those green bars represent the prices that rose the years following the elections. So, if you're worried about your house losing value because of an election, you can rest easy knowing prices rise after most presidential elections. The good news is that election years shouldn't play a role in you buying or selling a home. Call us today at the Tami Holmes Team so that we can help you find your dream home. Our number is 1-800-722-2585.